Yeah. State versus Johnson. A citizen has the right to travel upon the public highways. Transported property thereon. Kent versus Doles. The right to travel is a part of the liberty of which the citizen cannot be deprived without due process of law under the Fifth Amendment. Oh. There was no due process for the two-count criminal complaint. There was no personal service. Right. There was no summons. You transported me across county lines for violating a fraudulent protection order. After I had informed you that the petitioner didn't sign it, yeah, I was not given any notice or opportunity to be heard. It violated the civil rights of the minors named. Yeah. And then when you transported me to Jefferson County, yes, you did it in handcuffs. Oh. Now these handcuffs that you like using so much, yeah. There are some unalienable rights that are not separatable. Yes. hmm hmm And I found it interesting that you continue to separate me from my unalienable rights. Yes. Now, the sources of your rights as a citizen of the United States, the principal sources of your rights as an American citizen are two documents: the Constitution of your state. I provided approximately 50,000 copies of the Washington State Constitution. Yeah. You, as a state, said we don't have to support and defend the Constitution of the state of Washington. That'll be the Washington State Patrol that gets sued, and every state trooper in the state of Washington. Yeah. The state legislature that I emailed must have been thousands of times. Yeah. And then, well, all of you, Pooch, as a body and individually, yes, have refused to support and defend the Constitution of the state of Washington. Now, when I traveled from Guam, yeah, I wasn't automatically an actual resident. Just because you travel to a state doesn't make you a resident of that state. I was a resident of Guam for approximately 6 months after I traveled here. Yeah, because we were residents of Guam, and if Heidi wanted a protection order, she was obligated to go through the judiciary of Guam. She didn't do that. Now, that prosecuting attorney that was prosecuting me, yeah, she could have facilitated a protection order issued from Guam, yeah, where the Violence Against Women's Act would have been enforceable, yes, as well as um, the Foreign Court Order Act of the state of Washington, yeah. But she didn't do that. She decided to abduct my sons, and then she ran into the judiciary a week after getting here and said, "Give me a protection order." Where the truth is, the arrest happened on Guam, yeah, as did the diversion, the 7 hours of parenting classes, yes. She had a prosecuting attorney representing her when she wasn't, well, she was a resident, but she wasn't in Guam, yeah. Never appeared in court as herself. For you to issue a protection order, yes, without the jurisdiction of law means that I'm going to sue you for each and every document right now. See, she had a prosecuting attorney that was representing the people of Guam. Yes, I had signed a document agreeing to the diversion. Yeah, I went through two evaluators. It was recommended that I do 7 hours of parenting classes. Yeah, I did those, and then I was on probation for 1 year. The day before, 1 year after I got out of jail. Yes. And then my record was expunged and I was never arrested in Washington State. Now I'm sure about this. If she wanted a protection order, she was obligated to go through the judiciary of Guam. I wasn't a resident. See, I could have just traveled to Washington, then I could have went to Idaho, California. Just because you stay someplace in the state, yeah. Let's say I went to California. I stayed there for 2 or 3 days, and then they say, well, you're a resident of California. No. What if I went to Ohio or maybe Texas? Pooh. Exactly how long does it take for each and every state to consider you a resident? Yeah, because just because you're traveling to or through an individual state, As a truck driver, you start in the state of California, you drive to New York, you go through approximately 10 states. Yes, you're a resident in all 10 states as soon as you drive through it. Yep, I'm absolutely sure I would have been a resident of the United States territory of Guam for 6 months, and then after residing in the state of Washington, that's correct, I would have been considered a resident of the state. Now that takes us back to the dissolution of marriage. So she would have been a resident approximately the first or second day of the year of 2012. Yeah, I didn't get here until January 7th of 2012. I wouldn't have been a resident until June 7th of 2012. Yes, but you as a judiciary, see, just because you travel to a state doesn't mean that you're going to stay there. Yes. Now, this Constitution of this state and every state of the United States, ouch, and then there's that Constitution that you don't think is enforceable. Now, on page 52 of You and the Law, okay, certain other basic rights that you enjoy that are not explicitly spelled out in any document derive from the Old English common law on which our own legal system is based. See section 2. Now, you will remember that the American history courses you took in schools that the United States was legally established by action of over 2/3 of the original 13 states in 1788. You know, my sons being behind their actual age group, graduating at 19 and a half. We, in high school, we had what was known as social studies. I don't know if you remember that, but being a sophomore and being 17 next month, yeah, it's possible that nobody's ever explained to them what the Constitution says. Yeah, they never had any civil rights actual classes in junior high. But I thought the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and the whole law structure of individual states was taught somewhere, maybe a junior or senior. Yes, as in they're too stupid to know that you're violating their civil rights. You know, I'd sent an email where I was wanting to make sure that each and every one of my sons, after the age of 14, as I understand it, with parental supervision or guardian, yes, they can sue each and every individual. Pouch. Now, when we really look at the laws of the state, when do you actually teach what the Constitution of the United States says? They're 2 years behind where they should be at, and you've retarded their right to have knowledge that they don't have because my wife exploited them for 7 years, 5 months, and 26 days.